Hi guys, it's Julie from MakeupMagazine.com and this video is gonna tell you everything you need to know about a starter's brush kit. One of the most important things in your everyday routine of makeup is brushes. Now, let me tell you a little story about me and brushes. When I started out doing makeup looks and really getting into eyeshadows and smoky eyes and things like that, I will admit it, I had absolutely no idea that you're supposed to use brushes to apply the eyeshadow. I ended up buying those big boxes and kits of eyeshadows, and they always came with little doe foot applicators, those little brushes that I never understood how are you supposed to work with a double-ended sponge tip with all the shades that you got. So I didn't know how to do it, but I figured that if those are the applicators that they provide with the eyeshadows, that you're supposed to work with that, and so I did. I started getting interested in brushes. And actually since then I've come a long way. I'm a makeup artist today, so mostly I use brushes and not just applicators. But I do want to tell you that you don't have to go out and buy fancy brushes to do your makeup with just because this is the way it's supposed to be. There is no the way it's supposed to be in makeup. There are no rules, there are only suggestions for certain types of applications and for certain types of results you wish to get. However, you don't have to follow that, you just need to do whatever works for you. And this is a very important message. So, face brushes, and more specifically foundation brushes. Now, for years, I have been applying my foundation using this Kabuki brush, and if you've been following my YouTube channel or my blog, then you know that this is the oldest brush I own. I think it's about 8 or even 9 years old. I bought it at Makiage and it was super expensive. It costed like a max brush, a max face brush, which is really expensive, and it has a really bad quality because it keeps on shedding even today. But what I liked about it is it's natural fiber, it's not synthetic, and although natural fiber will absorb your product, it will steal from your foundation, but I feel that this type of fibers really gives an airbrushed look, and this is something that I never could quite get with a synthetic fiber brush. So I've been using this brush and this one, which is just Sigma's F05, and this is a small contouring brush. I know that Christine from Temptalia.com also uses the max equivalent. I think it's max 109 if I'm not mistaken. And the reason I like those brushes, first of all, as I said, it gives a really airbrushed look, and this one is really small compared to the Kabuki I showed you. You can see the differences. And this I will use when I want a quick application, and this I will use when I want a more precise one, when maybe I have some more flaws that I want to disguise and I really want to work the product into my skin and do it really, really finely. The next type of brushes I'm going to tell you about is really popular among YouTube, and this is the Sigmax Kabuki brushes. This one is the F80 if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the flat top Kabuki brush. They also have all kinds. They have an angled Kabuki, a tapered one, a round head. I like the flat top the most just because I really feel that I can get into my nooks and crannies. This is synthetic fiber. I think that the finish that it gives on top of your skin is not as beautiful as the real fiber gives you, but it doesn't steal your foundation. It doesn't absorb it in, so you will get more for the money that you pay. Now, I think that all the brushes in the Sigmax kit are wonderful. I like them very much. They're fairly good for the price tag that they have. Now, I will say this, I know that many YouTubers are huge fans of Sigma, and I'm affiliated with Sigma as well, this is not a secret. However, I feel that while they have great quality of brushes that have synthetic fiber, I absolutely hated every single brush that I owned by them with natural fiber, including the F05. The F05 is supposed to be for contouring, to applying powder products on your face. I hate it for that. It scratches me like most of the other Sigma natural fiber brushes. This is why I found that I enjoy using it with cream and liquids, because then I just don't feel how harsh and scratchy the fibers are. So that's about that. I will say that I don't feel that Sigma brushes are any kind of competition to MACs other than their price tag. Yes, they cost half of a MACs brush, but I have to say that my experience with their brushes had proven me that as long as we're talking about a natural fiber brush, it doesn't hold up as well as MAC's natural fiber brush. And I think that when I pay money for brushes, for tools, I want something that will last for years and years and years. I'm not gonna be replacing that in a year or two. So that's my philosophy. The flat top Kabuki though, wonderful. Every single brush from this kit is amazing. I will also say that for concealing, I don't like to, me personally, I don't like using the little flat headed brushes that you are being taught that are meant for concealing, and I am meaning this type of brushes, the short ones, really skinny and having synthetic fiber. I just don't like applying with that. I feel it's too much of a hassle for me personally. I know many others do like it. I like applying it with the Precision Kabuki brushes by Sigma. They're synthetic, they will not eat up your concealer, and this is really important. While when you apply foundation, you might want to have a more sheer look and you can spare a bit of product that's being eaten up by your brush. When you apply concealer, you take the exact precise amount because you don't want to cake it up, but you still want the coverage, so you don't want your brush eating up your product. So this is really important for me. That's that. And a recent discovery which I'm really liking is Coastal Sands. I really wanted to try out their brushes for a long time, and they're fairly inexpensive, I must say, and I was expecting to get not much of a quality, to be quite frank, but I have to admit that the brushes that I have tried out are as good as any Sigma brush, and some of them are even better. Like for instance this one, I don't know how it's called, I'm so sorry, it doesn't have a number, but it's an only one on their website. Like if you go to coastalsands.com, I think you'll see only one brush that looks like that, and I actually learned about it from Lisa SZ here on YouTube, and I use it to apply cream and liquids like foundation. I really like it. It's a duo fiber, but it has a rounded top and the bristles are shorter, and therefore they provide a better application and it eats up less product, which is great. So that's for my foundation and concealer brushes. Powder. Now, I'm not particularly fussy with my powder brushes. I do think that the two main themes that you can find in powder brushes are this type, which is more of a petal type, which is skinnier and then flares out, and a rounded, which is something like that. There are others, and as I said, there are no rules. You can use a blush brush as a powder brush and vice versa, a contouring brush for powder and things like that. No rules, but I prefer to use petal-shaped brushes just because I feel that I can brush off the excess more conveniently with that. And lately I have been really liking applying my powder, my setting powder, using a powder puff. and then knocking off the excess using this type of brush. This one I've had for I think 4 or 5 years. It's a Revlon one. It was really inexpensive. I just bought it because I didn't have one. I'm really happy with that. This little brush, it doesn't have a brand. I just bought it in a dollar store and it serves me well. While these fibers are natural, these are synthetic, and I do feel that I prefer real authentic fibers and not synthetic ones. And the reason is because I feel that real fiber picks up the product in a more precise way. It picks up more product and it flares it out on your skin. I don't really know how to explain it. I just feel that the way it picks up the product and distributes it is a little better than when using synthetic fiber. But if you're really on a budget, you can buy something like this from a dollar store or something like that, and it will be fine for as long period as you need before you can buy another one. I really haven't found any blush brush that I like more than my Dior one, although this one is starting to be a little old and beaten up. The reason I like it is because it has this flared format, and if you can see, it's pinched here in the beginning and it flares out and then it goes to a little point right here. So I can get a precise application and a buffing motion. So I can actually use this blush brush for many uses, and this is what I like. I bought a Bobbi Brown blush brush, which is supposed to be a cult product. To tell you the truth, I haven't really played with it much, so I can't give you my opinion on that, but I like this type of blush brushes, and I think that you can find it in Sigma and in MAC and most probably at Coastal Scents and in the drugstore. I really don't feel that you need much of a pricey brush to apply your blush. I will say though that I think that when speaking of a blush brush, much like the powder brush, the natural fibers pick up the product better, therefore it will give you a better application of the pigment. So if you have a blush that doesn't have much pigment and you have to pack it on, this type of brush will give you a better and more precise application, while if you have a blush that has a lot of pigment, you can barely touch with this one and the natural fibers will pick up exactly the amount that you need, and then you can just blend it out and it will look amazing. So I think that if you're gonna buy a blush brush, really invest in one that has real fibers. Eye brushes. Now here's the deal. I don't think that unless you're doing a very smoky look every single day, or unless you're doing a lot of makeup looks on your friends and you're a pro, I don't think that you need a lot of eyeshadow brushes. Here's why. You need 3 or maybe 4 types of brushes tops. You need one to apply a wash of color on your eyelids. Now, you may want to use something like this, which is a Max 252 if I'm not mistaken, yeah? Which is a really stiff brush and it's rather large. You can see it compared to my eyelid. And it's meant to packing up color on all of your lid. This gives a really fast work. Now, I know that many on YouTube talk about Max 239 and they have alternatives both in Sigma and in other companies, but this brush, while being stiff and skinny, will give you a more precise application. For instance, if you want to apply several colors on your eyelid one after the other. But if you're looking to apply just one color on all over your eyelid, I would recommend something like that, like a Max 252. I know that Sigma has a dupe for that. I haven't tried it, I don't know how it goes because I'm really happy with my Max brush, so that's it. If you don't want to spend both on a large brush and on a tiny brush, you can either just buy the tiny brush, because I always believe that if you have to choose between having a non-detailed work and a detailed work, choose the detailed, because it will give you so much more varieties of looks and shades and textures that you can create with your brushes. Or go for this little brush and a fluffy big brush. Now this is just a brush I got in the same kit. I got this one from Coastal Sands. I don't know how it's called, but it's a big petal fluffy brush and it's really dirty. I'm sorry, I applied makeup with it today. The good thing about it that you can apply your eyeshadow color. Now do remember that because these fibers are not synthetic, they're real, it will apply the color more sheerly than those would. But you can also, due to the fluffy point in the end, you can blend it a little bit. So it's kind of 2-in-1, and this is a really inexpensive brush. Blending brushes. Now, I believe that a good blending brush can make or break your look. Seriously. I've heard many people say that there are dupes for MAC 217 and they're just as good. I disagree. I've tried many. I've tried the Sigma ones, I've tried from the drugstore. I tried a whole lot, a whole bunch. Nothing is quite like this one. Nothing has the same length of fiber and the same, how do you call it? The same shape. Like you can see that it's really pinched here and fluffs a bit, but then it comes to a point which really makes it easy to go into that crease and really buff the color out. I think that the quality of these brushes is phenomenal, is amazing. I have had and still have MAC 224. I absolutely hate it. It's not like I'm a MAC brush fan or anything like that. Here, this is a brush, it's worse. It's a MAC brush and it's worse than any Sigma or any Coastal Sands one. It's scratchy, it's horrible, it's too big and you cannot work with it. I just use it to apply concealer sometimes because I just feel guilty for spending so much money on a MAC brush that I don't use. But the 217 is gold and I haven't found anything that works quite like this. I really do suggest that if you cannot afford the MAC 217, then go for a cheaper alternative. There are plenty of Coastal Sands brushes that look like this and they're fluffy and they have a point and you will be able to work more precisely in your crease until you save up and you can buy the real deal. I will say that for those of you who have more smaller eyes and this one might be a bit too big to blend the color from your crease, or you just want to have a more detailed work, I would suggest that you really invest in some Coastal Sands simple brushes. They're really good, they hold up their shape, they're quite fluffy and they don't scratch. I have the Sigma E45, is it? Yeah, the E45, which was supposed to do the exact same thing. It's a tapered blending brush and I hate it, it scratches me, I don't use it. The Coastal Sands one are really nice. I don't really find any difference in quality besides that this is a scratch one and these are not. So that's about it. I also have this one, which is a Sephora dupe for MAC 224. I think it's a good dupe. It's fluffy, it's big, it's really for doing that smoked out effect. You really should be careful with it because it's rather large for most eye shapes and eye sizes, but it does the work pretty well and it's less expensive than others, so this is a good option. The third group of eye brushes is detailing brushes, and I mean something like a smudger brush, which is not a necessity for a beginner because you can do the exact same thing with your shader brush. But what it's supposed to do is to smudge color on your lower lash line or maybe to smudge your eyeliner upwards and do all kinds of tricks with your darker eyeshadows. You can also work with detailing brushes which look like that, which is just a small, really tiny petal brush which is supposed to help you to apply color to really specific areas of your eye. And the final fourth group of eye brushes is eyeliner brushes. Now, I believe in good eyeliner brushes. I think that the Sigma ones are good. I didn't find them really comfortable for me because I like my brushes to be soft and really thin. This is why I like the MAC 266, 263 and the MAC 210, which is tiny. It's like nothing in your hand, but each in their own. I do think that if you're just beginning, you can buy the Maybelline Eye Drama gel liner, and it comes with a brush. It's a little bit on the thicker side, so it won't give you the exact precision that you want, but it's a good way to start. And anyways, when you're just starting out with makeup, I think that you most probably are starting out with some liquid liners rather than gel liners, so you'll be fine without a liner brush for some time. Okay guys, so to capture things, face brushes. For your foundation, either a regular fiber that soaks up a little bit of your foundation but gives a flawless finish, or a synthetic fiber that gives amazing finish, that gives more coverage than this one, applies it really dense, but it can be a little streaky. Or use something like that will give both the flawless application and the really great feel to your face. Powder brushes. Petal-shaped, real fiber, picks up a lot of product and distributes it finely. Blush brush. Only real fiber, doesn't matter which company, just remember that it should be convenient for applying on the side, in the cheek hollow, and blending out. Eye brushes. 4 kinds. First one, wash of color, with a smaller brush, with a bigger brush, or with a fluffy brush. Blending out, with a precise brush, with a pointed brush, or with a large brush for the really smoked out effect. Detailing brushes, like really small ones, and smudger brushes. The final group, eyeliner brushes. Alright guys, this is it for my video about brushes for beginners. I hope it helped you. If you have any further questions, please write in the comments bar down below, and please don't forget to subscribe. Bye!